So once we've added our part into the library, we may want to make this part configurable, and we can do this by creating a new configuration user interface. So firstly, I'm just going to search for our part within the library. So I'll just search for our cool part, I'll select that part and open it into session. So when we've got our part in session, we can create a new model configuration user interface for this. So I'll just select the icon, select new, and I'll accept the default name of cool part. We can now enter our description in here, and we can just enter configuration for cool part. If I just expand the web browser now, we can see under here we can select our dimensions that we want the user to be able to configure within this part. So just using the drop down list, I'm going to select the dimensions that we changed earlier using the multi-dimension tool. So I'm going to select the depth, just using the down arrow to add a second dimension. I'm going to select the height, and finally I'll select the width as well. So once we've selected the dimensions that the user can configure, we may want to limit the input they can enter. So for example, on our depth dimension, I can create a list of dimensions that I want the user to be able to input. So I can just type these into here and enter our values I want the user to be able to input into there. Once I'm happy with those values, I can click on save and create a list for the depth dimension. Once I've finished with the dimensions, I'm just going to position my part and create an icon on there for the user to be able to see on the configuration user interface. When I'm happy with all the information I've entered, I can just click on save and create the new configuration user interface. Once I've created this, if I just go back to our library, and I'm just going to clear our session, if I now search for our cool part within our library and select that part here, we can see that I've now got the icon here for a new configuration of this part. If I select this icon, this will take us into the configuration user interface as we did previously with the plate start part. If I now select the depth here, and we can see I've got my drop down list of entries that the user can now select from. And with the height and width, the user can have their own input within there. I've then again got the option to save the values, to open values to file, and to create a new model. We can also see that we've got the unique name for the part there as well. So now this is going to allow us and the user to be able to create new configurable parts just from the inputs of the depth, the height, and the width.